Alright guys, here we go with another leg workout. So this particular leg workout happens to be focused on glutes and hamstrings, and I got super creative for you guys. So you will notice, and I actually just cut it out of the video because I really wasn't excited about the way that it worked out, but I have a band, as you can see, on my knees, and what I ended up doing was I did a hamstring curl, and then technically the first set I did curl and then band open. So like I would curl in and then open up my legs like I was on the Yes machine, and that's what I call it. So you open up your legs, the adductor. Then on this set, so I did that on the first one, didn't really like it. So on this set, what I did was seated hamstring curl, and then technically right after this, what I did was I unclipped it, sat down, and then I leaned back and I just did band open. So I've seen this one a lot and I've never really done it before. And I was like literally talking to myself, like how the heck am I going to get the dumbbell in my, in between my feet? So I will say it's a lot harder than it looks. That's a 30-pound dumbbell, and that's what I started with. And I literally, I don't know why, but I think I remembered somebody saying that it's a lot harder than it looks. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start light with this. But way harder. I did notice I put myself on an incline bench. Just to work against gravity a little bit better than going on a flat bench. I've seen people do it on a flat bench, and I think that this is a lot better. I did this, and then I'm like, all right, my feet started to cramp, so then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do a version of this on the cable, and now here, this comes next. So what I did was I set up the bench the exact same way, so now you can see a better angle. Now, I got the cable on my little ankle things, and I'm going to do a hamstring curl. What I did notice here on the cable, because I wanted to go a little heavier, which was a lot better on my feet, so my feet didn't cramp. But I did notice that I was, as you can see, I'm kind of lifting up my hips a bit. So, on a lot of prone hamstring curl machines, I personally like the ones that there's a bend in the bench. So you will notice now I made that bend, and what it does is it kind of takes your lower back out of the equation. So now I can focus all just on my hamstrings. So I'm gonna have you guys listen to a little bit of music while you watch this. So I did curl, and then I got a little creative towards the end of it. I didn't go crazy heavy on this. I did do another set, and I did go heavier, and I took out the little thing that I did at the end. So what I did was I did some alternating isometrics, because what's really good about this is instead of being on a prone hamstring curl machine and then be pulling in, so now you're gonna see I'm doing a single leg thing, it's separate. So now your hamstrings have to individually work instead of maybe one. If you're laying down on a machine and you have a pad or even the dumbbell, you could have one that does a little bit more work than the other one. But when you curl in with the cable on each ankle, it actually forces both hamstrings to work together, or to work separately, not together. Then you guys, I am a huge fan of the hack squat, especially for quad growth. Foot position will have different things fired. So instead of having my feet together and then a little bit higher on it, which is more quad focus, I did wider foot position, like a goblet position, and I really focused on my glutes at the top and then focused on my adductor. So even though I'm not physically pulling my legs together, I did focus on squeezing together. And then notice that how I just raised my toe a bit, and that just forced me to flex my quads. Then what I ended up doing was I did quite a few sets here. I don't really have a set amount, and I've said this to you guys before in videos. I consider like warm-up sets, and then once it really starts to get challenging, which sometimes even the warm-up sets are challenging, I will then count the working sets. But even then, I don't typically stick to like a whole 3-4 sets. I just go until I feel like I can't go any heavier, and I'll do, 1 or 2 sets with the heaviest that I can go. Sometimes I'll do drop sets. This particular day I did not do drop sets. So you'll also notice that I have bands connected to my hack squat. The hack squat is a little rough on the knees, so you want to have the band to give that little extra assistance at the bottom of it, and then the band releases. So as you're getting to the top part of the movement, the band releases, and then you're doing more of the work. The band is really just helping you with that sticking point at the bottom. So if you've ever gotten on a hack squat and you feel like you feel pain in your knees, you might want to adjust your foot position, but you also want to try this. Yes, you can typically go a little bit heavier, but you're still, if you have a good enough weight, you're still getting the muscles to fire. You're still getting good quad, glute, adductor activation. And again, just taking away some of the shearing on the knees. So, watch as I keep going. Okay, now this is just my happy dance because I decided to, and let me be honest with you, I did switch and do a little bit of leg press, but I didn't videotape it. So I didn't go right from a hack squat to the Smith machine. Now, I've done this one before in a video. Notice how I'm not going all the way down. So I didn't really do a zoom in, which I should have, but I'm not squatting all the way down. I'm pushing my butt back and I'm focusing on squeezing and firing my glutes. And even when I stand up, I'm not squeezing in and tucking my hips under and squeezing my glutes that way. I'm just flexing them at the top, even though they're partially still sticking out. So this is called a glute squat. You could also do this on the knees, and you might have seen people do this on the knees on the Smith machine, or even on a regular barbell. I wanted to get I wanted to try something different. I only did this with one set, so I put a band on, so the band is pulling me back, and it took a while for me to even get this thing set up. But the band is pulling my hips back, and then I gotta fire them even more as I stand up and push the hips forward. So you can watch this, and then what I start doing is I start going heavier on the weight. I take the band off for all the other sets, and I start going heavier. And I stuck to like 12, 10, I think the lowest that I did was 10, and I really tried for 12, I think, but I typically like to stick to higher volume. We're not going for, like, powerlifting. I'm lifting heavy, but I'm lifting heavy with volume. So, trying to get my legs to grow. I want them to be strong, but I want them to be big. So you want to go with a little higher volume. So I put my belt on because sometimes with this position that I'm in and the focus, you know, you might feel it a little bit in the back. The heaviest I've ever done on this was, I think, 275, but I haven't done that heavy since my back issue, which most of you guys know that I hurt my back. Not working out, and I am fully recovered. So I felt a little bit more stable, so you can see I'm moving a little bit smoother now. I do have my waist trainer and my belt on, so now I have a 45, a 25, and a 10. So what is that, 205 that I have on the Smith? Well, I mean, the Smith machine bar doesn't weigh as much as a regular barbell is, so all right. All right, and then I decided to get a little functional towards the end. I haven't done this in a really long time. This is a lot harder than it looks, but it's a TRX hamstring curl. You have to make sure that you push the hips up. So some people, you might notice doing this with their butt staying down. You really want to focus on keeping the hips absolutely straight as you pull in. This is a hamstring fryer. Next time I do this, I am going to add some weight to it. And you're going to have to wait to see the video on that. But super hard exercise. I didn't superset this with anything else. I ended with this, and I did do 4 sets. So I hope you guys liked the video. Like, share, comment, whatever you want.